Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. I hope that you are having a good day, but preferably a great day so far. I'm not sick, but I'm just a little congested right now. So we're going to have to, as I talk, I feel like my nose is going to relax and I'll sound back to normal. But I'm so happy that you guys decided to listen to an episode. And also, thank you for still tuning in, even though I went dark last week. Apologies. It was just a lot going on. And I just felt like I had other priorities that I needed to focus on over the podcast, which is not ideal, especially because this is my podcast. So I was kind of disappointed in how I showed up for myself last week, but it's in the past. We move. In the future, if I just can't get around to doing an episode, I will definitely let you guys know on the Instagram. If you don't already follow it, it's at Graduated and Grown. But today's episode, we are not going to be doing any learning. We are just going to chat. I love the duality of this podcast because, like, yes, we can learn, we can grow, we can, have self reflection, but also sometimes I just want to come on here and chat about things. I have thoughts, I have opinions, and I know a lot of y'all have thoughts and opinions too, because I feel like I talk with a lot of people that follow me on Instagram just about random stuff all the time. And so today we're going to talk about some big topics. Two are like world topics, and then one is a personal topic. So we'll get into that later. But before I get into this, if you listen to this podcast every week or on a regular basis and you're not already subscribed to or following the podcast, what are you doing? Just go ahead, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button so you can get notified every single time there's new episodes. And also, if you have any episode ideas, you can hit me in the DMs because I'm always very curious. All right, y'all. One of the biggest topics for this past week has been the TikTok ban. Obviously, by now, we all know that the app came back, right? So, I mean, we knew about this impending TikTok ban for months, like at least since the fall. Like, I feel like October, September, maybe even before that, we knew that there was this date of January 19th. But I feel like nobody really thought it was going to happen. I mean, even like in professional settings, like people are like, do you think it's going to happen? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. And I'll admit, there's so much about the TikTok ban that I don't know about in terms of like the reasoning and where it all came from, right? I feel like I see headlines. I've listened to a few short podcasts, but nothing has really like completely explain the entire TikTok ban. So I want to give you a little warning just in case I say something that maybe is not true, maybe is based in opinion, not fact. I apologize. But as a TikTok consumer, initially I was very nonchalant because I'm like, oh, it's not going to happen. But then like around November, December, I'm thinking, it's giving it's going to happen, especially because our Supreme Court is so conservative and this ban was initiated by conservatives. I just had a feeling it was going to continue, right? And then when December rolled around, like when Christmas time rolled around, I was like, ooh, this might actually be happening. But like when I would talk to non TikTok users about the app, they're like, I don't care. Yeah, ban it, whatever. I'm like, no, y'all don't understand. You need to get on the app to understand why this needs to stay. And I have heard conversations around like why the United States wanted it to be banned. Basically, like the amount of access that we give TikTok to our personal information is actually crazy. If that is true, if that is actually true, that they have access to our cameras, even when we're not using our phones, our microphones, even when we're not engaging with them, access to our text messages, I'm sure they have access to our search history. Like, that's not surprising to me. I feel like every app can access that, right? Every app has cookies, in my opinion. But just the things like the messages and the phone camera and the microphone, that type of stuff was making me a little bit uncomfortable, right? And I feel like I was having this cognitive dissonance between like, there's this app that I love that is truly unmatched. And then there are these security concerns that I'm like, I think they're valid concerns if this is true, right? And so when it was like the weekend of the ban and you had like the TikTokers going to the Supreme Court, like standing outside and like protesting, right? And then the Supreme Court ultimately made the decision that they were going to uphold the ban. It was just like a wave of emotions on that Friday, right? Like it was very, very crazy. It was very shocking. I was talking to one of my friends about it and we were like, we actually cannot believe this. Like a world without TikTok is crazy. And don't get me wrong, like we all have other social platforms, right? Like everybody for the most part has Instagram. And I like Instagram, but there's a difference, y'all. Like on TikTok, one of my last videos, I had my bonnet on. I would never be on Instagram with my bonnet. Never a day in my life. I would rather just keep the content to myself. I would just post it to my close friends, actually. there's something about Instagram where you feel like you have to be polished. I also feel like I don't know if I want everybody in my business on Instagram. It's so weird. And I, along with a lot of people, think it's because you have such a collection of people from all different stages of your life, right? I have like people that I went to preschool with, people that I went to summer camp with, people from high school, people from college, right? And obviously within that, I have friends from those different, categories. But then there's people that are like so removed. And it's like people that I don't know if they care about my life, right? Like, yeah, they follow me, but I don't know if they're interested in my content, if they're interested in hearing more about my thoughts, my feelings. I don't know if some people are going to judge me. I don't know if my content is going to be shared with somebody else and talked about in a group chat. Like, there's just so many things you don't know. And obviously, that can happen on TikTok as well, but it's just different on Instagram. Instagram is giving aesthetic, it's giving baddie, it's giving presenting your best. And TikTok was not like that, which I really, really appreciate. And that's why I posted way more on TikTok versus Instagram. Like I'll post on Instagram stories, like maybe not every day, but very often. But like in terms of like content that I'm creating when I'm talking, etc., that's on TikTok. That is like my place. And I'm not as consistent as I would like to be on there, but it's like 15 million times more than Instagram. When they were proposing this ban, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with all my like content creation, passion, right? I was like, am I going to post these type of videos on Instagram? And I do post some reels, right? I do every once in a while, but it's usually like different versions of the content or it's completely different. I have like two different, I would even say strategies or game plans when it comes to those two different platforms. And then I do post on YouTube, but YouTube Shorts is like such a weird platform for me. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. But I do try to use it every once in a while. So it's like, maybe I'll use YouTube Shorts. I kind of pushed all those thoughts aside on Saturday because I was like, really? My goal is to get in as much TikTok as possible. So I had a pretty chill day on Saturday. So it allowed me to do a lot of scrolling. I went through, followed all my favorite creators on Instagram, found people's YouTubes, you know what I mean? It was also a nice opportunity to kind of like do a diagnostic of my following list because there's some people I'm like, they have not posted since 2021. Like, why are they still being followed by me? But anyway, that happened. And then later that night, I went to the movies and then came back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get one more TikTok scroll because I assumed the app was gonna shut down like at like midnight Pacific Standard Time. I washed my face, and as I'm washing my face, I'm like, let me turn on TikTok. Girl, the app let me scroll for maybe 7, 8 videos, and then it said, no internet connection, cannot connect. I'm like, no. And I saw all over Instagram that everybody's app had shut down, and it just made me so sad. And then moving forward, obviously today, the app came back. Was that later Sunday? I think it was later Sunday. I feel like that was a stunt, if I'm being honest with you. Even the Biden administration said it was unnecessary for them to like shut down the app. And I think it was their attempt to give President Trump some praise, to give him some credit, which is crazy because they're saying that he was the one that initiated the ban back when he was in the office 4 years ago. So that's a little confusing. And I just don't understand that at all. But that kind of put a weird taste in my mouth because I feel like TikTok could have acknowledged, like, obviously all the turmoil that was involved with the ban. But I think it's just weird how they did it. And then they had a save TikTok party. It's very weird. And I don't know how I feel about it. I have not really been on the TikTok app much since Sunday, but I don't know if that's intentionally because I'm kind of like confused and slightly annoyed with how they are praising someone that initiated the ban, or if it's just because like I got my mind ready to not use TikTok as much. I'm not sure. But it's just weird right now. And also, all the videos on TikTok are all about the ban, which I don't really care. At least that's what my FYP is showing me. This whole TikTok ban situation has been very tumultuous. I'm over it. I would like us to move forward. If the app stays, it stays. That's great. If it goes away, I just need Instagram and YouTube Shorts to pick up the pieces and have better algorithms. But the hard part about that, and that goes back to our data, I think part of the reason why TikTok has such a great algorithm is because of the amount of data that they have on us. And then also it's like studying all of us individually. Like it sees, oh, you watch more dog videos than cat videos, or yeah, this random topic about this girl who got scammed. you watch the entire video, like, yeah, we know you want more of that. So obviously, like, it's studying our individual profiles more than like Instagram and YouTube does. And there's pros and cons with that. So like I said, I'm over the ban. If it stays, it stays. If it goes away, I'll be sad again, but also I'll live. It's just a weird world right now. Like, obviously this week was inauguration week, and can I be honest with you guys? I am concerned that we may be entering an era where free speech is going to be scrutinized more than ever. And free speech it's a hard one. Like, I definitely believe that everyone deserves the right to speak their mind as long as they are not saying racist, misogynist, I don't know if this is a word, terroristic things. Like, you guys get what I'm saying, right? I think those things, yeah, you don't get freedom of speech, in my personal opinion. But I just feel like things are gonna shift. And I feel like I am usually pretty open with my thoughts and my feelings about things. But it's like, do I need to start keeping my thoughts to myself so that this doesn't bite me in the butt? But I guess in honor of MLK, you should stand up for what you believe is right. And I will try to keep doing that, but it's a little weird. I'm not going to be one of those people that's like so scared, like actively scared about like what's going to happen over these next 4 years. And I don't know if that's like the peace from like God that's like talking in the back of my mind or something, but I obviously am nervous. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very concerned with these day one executive orders that have been signed or some of these upcoming plans that he has. And I'm concerned for a lot of people, a lot of different groups of people, actually. But I have no idea what I want to happen realistically. But I just hope that we're okay. And I hope that some good happens in this world, um despite there being a lot of confusion and nervousness, and I don't know what that good could look like. And I think it could be very easy to be a pessimist and say, trust me, there is no good happening. But I do feel like every once in a while we see like really good human moments happen. Obviously we're all aware of all the fires that were happening, and I believe a few are still happening in like the LA area. So heartbreaking. My hearts, my prayers, everything goes out to those of y'all that are in the LA area. Like, so crazy. And I'm like, we can't do anything to prevent these wildfires. I understand that wildfires are also a part of nature's natural process, but like, they're so destructive. I would love for us to put government resources into how we can contain these better, especially during wildfire seasons. But anyway, I think we saw like hope for humanity when we saw how people were really rallying up to support those in LA, right? Like, obviously we have like the LAers that weren't as affected by the wildfires really showing up for their communities, doing so many drives. The firefighters, first responders, amazing. You had first responders from other states flying into California to help. I thought that was amazing. But also like just people from other states, other cities were really just like coming together to support those that were experiencing hardship from the fires. I thought that was amazing. So many GoFundMe's were like tens of thousands of dollars over, their goal amounts. Like it was really nice to see like humans care for other humans. And unfortunately, I feel like we only see like these big efforts when big tragedies happen, which is a little bit tough. I wish we would, just be better humans on a regular basis, but it was definitely nice seeing the communities come together. And I think like as we are, experiencing these next 4 years, I hope that communities come together and that we help each other out, that we protect those that need to be protected, that we speak up for those that may not have a voice, and we exercise more unity than we have previously. So that's all I'm going to say about that. It's very weird. I don't want to be like removed from politics because I think that's very easy, but I also think it's important for me to stay up to date with what's happening and really understand what's going on in our country. And I definitely encourage you guys to do that as much as like it makes sense for you. Let's get the orange man in the White House off of our minds. And I wanted to give you guys like an update. So, for those of y'all that don't know, I don't know if I've talked about this, but Me and Justin, boyfriend, now fiance, got engaged in July of 2024. Feels like so long ago. I think it's been 6 months. No, it hasn't. Has it been? Oh my gosh, it'll be 6 months, like literally next week. That's crazy. But anyway, I have learned a lot throughout this whole fiance era when it comes to planning a wedding or planning a celebration. And let me tell you, y'all, obviously making that commitment to your partner and like affirming the fact that you guys want to be together forever is such a beautiful thing, right? I love it. Like I would go back and do it 100 more times every day. But also, the wedding industry is very overwhelming. And I feel like before I was like in this position, I didn't really take people seriously when they talked about how stressful wedding planning is. And you know what? From my POV, I feel like it's stressful just from a financial perspective. I think that's what's been stressing me out. Not necessarily like the act of like looking for things or finding things and developing opinions. Like, I don't think that's stressful for me yet, but just like looking at the cost of these things and being like, is this worth the money? Is this what we want? Is this being impacted by social media? Is there some comparison going on? Like, what is it that we want? Do we want to spend this amount of money on that? I think that has been the stressful part. And I'll talk more about this probably in a few months once we're like a little bit more like farther along with what we're going to do. Again, I'm being very vague, but I will share more later. But it has been very interesting. And I just want to say, for those of you that are engaged, that are looking to get engaged, all those things, I encourage you to do what you want to do. Do not let society or your friends or your family push you to do something that you don't want to do. Obviously, money is a factor in a lot of this, but also like you and your partner are at the center of this. And you guys really need to do what's best for you, what's best for your future, and whatever fits within your future plan. Don't let keeping up with the Joneses put you in an uncomfortable financial situation. Don't let your family push you to do something bigger or even smaller than what you want to do. And just really have those conversations with your partner. And low key, I feel like if you and your partner know, oh, hey, we are going to take this next step, it's just a matter of time. I even think having the conversations about what it is that y'all want to do, like even before you're engaged, isn't a bad idea. Talking about, do we want to do a destination wedding? Do we want to have a big wedding? I think those things can be helpful. Even having those conversations with your friends, I feel like is helpful. The year and a half before I got engaged, I was having so many conversations with friends about like weddings and the size of weddings. And that honestly opened my eyes to realize I don't want 300 people at my wedding. I don't even know 300 people well enough for it to even make sense for like me and Justin personally. But like, that's not for me. But you want to know what else I've learned? I thought like, oh, I would have a wedding definitely less than 100 people. I don't know if that's true anymore. After like thinking about some things and writing some things down, I realized, oh, you know what? Maybe it is over 100 people. 100 people isn't as many people as I thought it would be. So anyway, all that to say, wedding planning has been very interesting. I can't wait to share more with you guys. I'll be posting more about that. Definitely on TikTok, TBD on Instagram. Again, it feels like I have people in my personal business on Instagram. I don't know how to explain it. I hope you guys enjoyed this random chit chat. I hope that y'all are staying safe. I hope that you're staying warm. It snowed in Florida. I think that was yesterday, and it's freezing here in Orlando. Like, I need to get on a one-way flight to Miami. Might even be cold. I just need to go somewhere hot, and it's not here. But anyway, I hope y'all have a great day, a great rest of your week, and I will chat with y'all next week. Bye.